There's a place in our hearts. It's a pain only God can heal. We can only tell you how we feel. So here we are to praise you, God. I know they say time will heal our pain, but life will never be the same. We may not get another day. So for today, we'll just have to pray. Sing to God and raise your voices now. Sing to God and fill the sky. Let your spirit praise your Maker now. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Spread over our loved ones and all those in need, your shelter of healing, a soak of peace. Our family, our friends.
At Temple Israel, we start on the minute. Actually, we start early to make people who come in on time to be late. If everyone will please be seated. This is an unusual role for me, asking people to be seated. Usually I go like this and everybody stands. If I can ask everyone to please be seated, they'd really like us to begin the program. I've already lost 3 minutes of the time they gave me, and they only gave me 2. I hope you feel exactly as I feel. I am so incredibly excited to be here with all of you. We need, as a Jewish people, as a Jewish community, we need evenings such as this. We need evenings when we can joyfully gather with a sense of purpose, such as we feel this evening. And it's my pleasure on behalf of our clergy team and leaders and members to welcome you to our congregation, Temple Israel. How incredibly fortunate we are to have Camp Tamarack. How blessed I am as a parent and grandparent to have children who are campers and counselors, grandchildren who are again looking forward to a summer with excitement. As a former camp director for many years, I recognize the role that Jewish camps play in enhancing Jewish identity. Last year, I completed my participation on the Tamarack board. Where's Lee seated? Lee, thank you for encouraging, or should I say insisting, that I serve. I have never engaged with leaders who are more skilled and more devoted. I'm so proud, by the way, this evening that 3 of my granddaughters joined with other young future leaders in our community at the fundraising tables that you all went to. The Shook, Jordan's Great Race, Sneaks for Peace, future leaders in this community at the raising money at their B'nai Mitzvah project for both Israeli campers who will be with us in large numbers this summer, and local campers. Mazel tov to dear friends, Elaine and Michael Serling, who once again are taking the philanthropic lead with a remarkable commitment to the Israeli camper program. Thank you to Naomi Miller. You can cut it, it's right. Thank you to Naomi Miller and family, the connections that you've made to this community. My kids love your son. We'd love you if we knew you better, I want you to know. I'm so proud to have been one of Lee Treppick's rabbis. Now I think of him as a friend, and definitely I am a unique admirer. With regular lunches, we share thoughts about camp and the Jewish future. And I'm not telling you the restaurant we go to. Lee and his team just returned from Israel. Having been to Israel twice on missions since October 7th, I know how much that visit meant to them and how important it was when you were able to stand with and hug our family in Israel. Lee, continue to bless our community. We need you, we admire you, and we love you. Come on up here, Lee.
Thank you. Rabbi Loss, I just like watching you. It's an honor, Rabbi, to be in this congregation, and it is an honor to congregate in this sanctuary with all of you. It is so special to be in a congregation where I grew up. And it's so special that together, all of us are growing up even taller by together, in one voice, united and strong, sending even more kids to camp this year alone because of you. I say this every year. Camp matters. Jewish camp matters. The fresh outdoors, the breeze of freedom, the chance to live directly, interacting, real time, face to face, the chance to be a kid, unplugged from unnecessary connection and far away from the noise of social media. The chance to bask in the sunlight that sprays the rays, the glory of Judaism. And this year, with war in Israel and unabashed anti-Semitism, I say this emphatically. This year, I believe that Jewish kids need Jewish camp even more. Here's what I think. Our community's kids, our community's Jewish kids, and frankly, our community's Jewish young staff, they need a campus where they can be unapologetically Jewish every day for where they want to walk and where they want to move and how they want to feel. That is why we're here, and that is Tamarack Camps. They need this, I believe, in America, and I just saw, as Rabbi Law said, how much they need it far away in our homeland of Israel. I saw this firsthand, and I was asked a number of times earlier, describe it. And I don't know if I can, but I'm gonna do my best. 2 days ago, our awesome camp director, Carly Weinstock, I think that's worth that applause. And Allison Gutman, our partner at the Jewish Federation of Detroit, returned. For me, and I believe for them, it was the most important trip that I've ever taken, for sure, through Tamarack Camps, the most meaningful and impactful on the work that we all do. Our goal was to see kids, campers, so many of them. And our goal widened. Let's see staff. Let's tour our partnership region. And then let's walk some of the hardest walks in the world, right in the middle of devastation. And for those few 5 days, this is what I felt. The deepest of sadness and the highest levels of anger. And then it was balanced by what I saw. And here's what I saw. I saw resilience. I saw human pride. And I saw hope. First, though, the worst. And it's the worst. We went to Nova Music Festival, the Fields. And here we walked and we paid respect to nearly 400 frozen moments in history where our people perished. Peace-loving young people at a party, including through this community and our work at Tamarack, Maya Puder, a 25-year-old woman who I met when she was a 12-year-old camper in Grossberg Ruach Village. And she died because she was Jewish. And so we stood with her mom, who drove an hour and a half to meet us. And we didn't know what to say. So we hugged her on behalf of all of us. And we offered words of sympathy from this community. And we stood. And she shared stories. And then we were silent, except for the tears. For her and for the 3 others through this community's work that have perished, may I ask, please, for just a moment of silence and your own thoughts. And then we went to Kibbutz Be'eri. I know that many of you have seen pictures of the devastation or read stories. Yet, it is so magnified when you're on the ground and you're listening to the tragedies from people that lived it and lost way too much. And yet, here's what wasn't lost. That became the best. And we saw it, and we talked about it a lot. Here's what wasn't lost. The resilience of our people, that wasn't lost. We saw that too. Our people, they insist on living, and there was so much life. We saw activities abound on the beach. Kids were playing volleyball. Bikes were rolling across the pathways. Judaism flourished. We saw people with yarmulkes walking comfortably. And we watched families celebrate Shabbat. And we watched the future. I wish you could have seen the parents strolling their kids in Tel Aviv. And we saw pride. We take care of our own. And we are doing it. That's what we said in Hebrew. I learned this. Anachnu osim et zet abigadol. We are doing it big time. And hope. That's also what we did. Together, we hoped for a better future. And we saw it. We saw it with previous staff members. And we saw it with current campers that we'll talk more about as tonight goes forward. And you know what we saw? We saw all of them together scream Hebrew also. Mishpacha, they said, we're coming home. That's Jewish hope. And you know where they're coming home? To the greatest place on earth. We are bringing them home. I just want to add this. I didn't think it was possible. As I enter my 16th summer at camp here, I love this place even more. We're really doing important work in the fields, in the middle of the worst. We're really working hard to provide so much of the best. That's the hope. Here's some of the best. She's back there on this bima. Ofri, your mishpacha. Your mishpacha. From many years ago, as an Israeli camper, I had the honor of meeting you. All the way from Israel. This is how lucky we are. And as I met you, what I didn't know is I would have the pleasure of watching you grow. Right now, when you come into our office or you walk through this community as a Shinshinim, one of 5, where your service to the Army is being deferred for a year so that you can work as an ambassador in this community to share the stories and then to come home again to camp this summer where you'll work side by side with all of us as a staff member. What an honor. I also know this. Your voice, it's beautiful. You're a beautiful singer. And I know this, that in 2010, we created another song and we called it a Song of the Summer. Well, we didn't create the song, actually. But we did create the idea that wouldn't it be great if a singer named Matisyahu from Israel would sing lyrics that would mean something pretty special in Ortonville. So we put it on the back of our shirt. It said "One Day." And it screamed an anthem of peace and hope. And it connected Israel to home. And it connected us tonight, Ophir, to you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my honor. Ofri Lelouch, in your voice, please take center stage and let the world hear your beautiful sound. This is Ofri and One Day.
One day, sometimes I lay under the moon and I thank God I'm breathing. Then I'll pray, don't take me soon, 'cause I am here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it take me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been crying for the people to say that we don't wanna fight no more, there'll be war no more, and the people will play. One day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day.
Thank you, Ofri, for sharing your beautiful voice and message of hope. My name is Lisa Karatkin-Rothberger, and along with my friend, Jeffrey Kirshner, we have had the pleasure of serving as co-chairs for tonight's event. On behalf of our amazing committee and Tamarac's board, we want to thank all of you for making tonight's event one for the record books. We're excited to announce that your support of tonight's event has resulted in the most we've ever raised for our Send a Kid to Tamarack campaign. And the largest crowd in the event's history. This directly impacts the camp experience for countless campers, staff, alumni, and the future of the Detroit Jewish community. While we all have our own stories and Tamarack experiences, Thank you for coming together to make sure that these stories continue for generations to come.
As Tamarac's alum, staff, and parents of campers, the Jewish camping experience that both we and our children have had continues to give us hope for the future. Like many of you, Lisa and I contribute financially, emotionally, and give our time because we have experienced and witnessed firsthand the impact of this multi-generation tradition. Watching these kids go through their Tamarack journey inspires us and all of you to remain connected with the Tamarack community. And for that, we are appreciative and grateful.
I'm here tonight to share how Tamarack camps have been life-changing for my family. Thanks in large part to scholarships and supporters like you. My name is Margot Stacker, and I'm proud to be part of a 4-generation Tamarack family. Thanks. My parents in the late 1930s and early 1940s went to Fresh Air Camp. My dad lived in the Jewish Children's Orphanage in Detroit, and my mother lived with her grandparents. Neither of my parents had an easy childhood. Thanks for the generosity of our community. They both received scholarships and fondly remembered Fresh Air Camp as the highlight of the summer, and often the highlight of the year. This was the start of a family tradition. My brother and I, of course, went to Brighton and Tortonville. For both of us, summer was all about going to Tamarack. I have so many wonderful memories of my summers at camp. Eventually, I spent 3 fabulous summers being a counselor in Brighton. As a counselor, one of the directors made a comment that has stayed with me for my entire life. Make sure you follow through on what you say. As a retired teacher of 40 years and a mother of 2 daughters, it was excellent advice. Probably the most memorable part of being at Camp Tamarack was that through another counselor, I met my husband, Michael, who I've been married to for 51 years. When our daughters, Julie and Lori, were old enough, they also went to Brighton and Nortonville, the highlight of their summer. My youngest daughter, Lori, spent 3 summers as a counselor in Nortonville. Now, my grandson, Max, is a 4th generation. When he comes home after spending almost a month at camp, I see how happy he is. In fact, he recently celebrated his bar mitzvah and spoke on this bima about the calm and peace he feels at being at camp, a true testament to the impact and timelessness of the Tamarack experience. My husband and I had the wonderful opportunity to take our grandchildren to Bubby's 80 camp. I was so happy to be able to share my love and memories of camp with them. Tamarack has been definitely an important part of my life. In reflecting on these wonderful memories, we owe so much to Tamarack and the generation of supporters who made it possible for my parents, my brother and I, my daughters, Julie and Lori, to be able to go to camp when money was tight. What I really want to say is thank you. Thank you for providing for everyone and creating memories for a lifetime. There will never be enough kind words about the opportunities that Tamarack camps have provided for my entire family. Today, I am so glad that I'm able to pay it forward through a monthly gift. I am proud to know that each month, our donation will help a child have an incredible summer and create their own lifetime memories.
Lisa, Jeff, Margot, and so many of you here tonight, I've had the opportunity to see your children and grandchildren grow up at Tamarack, and it's an honor. My name is Carly Weinstock, and I've been at Tamarack for 30 years, 17 professional, and now I'm proud to be entering my 4th year as the camp director. We are just weeks away from our 123rd summer, and I can't help but marvel at this beautiful camp community and all of you who continue to plant seeds and help our kids grow. Speaking of growth, we are so excited to open 2 new signature spaces at Camp Moss this summer. Thank you to Harriet and Greg Orley for the hug, where we can't wait to embrace our camp community. This transformational project includes 3 prominent spaces: the lakefront, Degel, and an immediate space behind the Cheder Ocha. Thank you also to Larry and Andy Wolf, whose generosity has brought us Wolf Village, a brand new village for our incoming 6th grade boys and enhancing our Midside experience. Thank you all for adding your voices and vision for Judaism to continue and flourish at camp for generations to come. We can't wait for the first day of camp and welcoming our community kids. One day we're truly looking forward to. I have the privilege of hearing voices of our staff, so motivated to teach. And I also love hearing the voices of our campers, some of the sweetest in the world. Soon, you'll meet one of those voices, Cooper Ingber, a Robinson Pioneer camper. But first, it's my honor to introduce a partner of ours. The lead voice is CEO of the Jewish Federation of Detroit, Steve Ingber.
Thank you, Carly. So good evening. I'm Stephen Ingber, CEO of the Jewish Federation of Detroit. It's an honor to be here for this extraordinary occasion where all of you support the mission of sending kids to camp. And for me, it's professionally and personally meaningful. As the father of 4 Tamarack campers, I know the importance of ensuring that all children and teens have access to a Jewish camping experience, regardless of their financial ability. Tamarack Camps and Federation have a strong partnership on so many initiatives, and our shared work on the Israeli Camper Program truly embodies that spirit. The benefits of this program have proven far greater than simply providing a safe haven for Israeli teens. Our local campers have created lifelong bonds with their new Israeli friends. They've learned from each other. They've grown Jewishly together. They've strengthened the connection between Detroit and Israel. Through these relationships, our kids have a home in Israel, even if they've yet to set foot there. Throughout the years of this program, the number of Israeli campers coming to Tamarack has gone up and down. Unfortunately, when Israel faces challenges, the need goes up. And this is such a year. Carly Weinstock, as camp director, works closely with Jen Levine, Allison Gutman, and our Israeli and overseas team. And as a result, we're sending the most Israelis to Ortonville this summer since the first year of the Israeli Camper Program. The pain of October 7th will long be with Israelis and Jews around the world. And it is a wound that cannot heal. While Israel still faces an enemy that would see it rather destroyed. In these awful months, we have lost 4 young people who participated in the Israeli Camper Program. We wait with hope each day for the hostages that Hamas still holds to be released. We pray for the end of this conflict and the heartbreaking loss of life. In the face of this unprecedented situation, I am proud of the way the Detroit community has stepped up to support the Israeli Emergency Fund. That fund, thanks to each and every one of you, has raised more than $28 million that is currently providing critical support to the people of Israel. But for Israeli children and teens, along with our local kids, as Lee shared earlier, what they need most is something money can't buy. They need a place just to be kids. They need to be kids again. And again, that is the power of Tamarack. With an amazing organization, an event like this, we have a lot of people to thank. First, another mazel tovs to our honorees, my friend Naomi Miller, and Elaine and Michael Serling. As part of Federation's Israel office, Naomi has been an integral member of our staff for over 22 years and involved with Tamarack for that same amount of time. And if you've met Naomi, you immediately have family in Israel. More to come on Naomi shortly. As you also hear tonight, the Serling's love for Judaism and devotion to Israel have been a guiding force over a lifetime of their communal service. Their philanthropy is unmatched. It has encompassed more organizations providing a direct impact to the people they serve. It is with deep appreciation that tonight we honor this phenomenal couple for endowing the Elaine and Michael Serling Israeli Camper Program. Thank you. As partners, our team works closely with Tamarack's leadership, constantly rolling up our sleeves together. Thanks to Lee, Andy, Carly, and everyone else who I'm probably going to miss names, so I'm going to stop there. And the entire Tamarack staff and the board of directors, led by my friend Michael Cooper, ensuring that all kids have the time of their lives each and every summer. We thank you all. And now it gives me great pleasure to turn this evening over to somebody I've never turned this microphone over to before. Cooper, come on up. This is one of my change makers and one of a few kids who calls me Dad.
Thanks, Dad, and thanks to all of you here tonight. I cannot wait to get to camp this summer and be in Pio. Like many of you, I was inspired by my own camp experience to give back and help Israeli campers. Through the Tamarack Fund, through my Sneakers for Peace project, I created blue and white 3D printed sneaker keychains to raise money to bring Israeli kids to camp this summer. I'm so proud to share that I've raised almost $2,000. I also want to shout out my fellow change makers who also started making their own special projects to support fellow campers through Tamarack's Campaign for Change program. I know many of you are here tonight. If you are, fellow change makers, please stand with me and let's give all those change makers a round of applause. Thank you for all you do and inspiring me to lead by example. And back to Lee.
Cooper, you are a great voice of leadership on our campgrounds and here. And Steve, in this community, we're really grateful that you are anchoring a really important ship. Naomi Miller, I met you in 2009, and I think you were a change maker. And in 2010, I traveled to Israel. And you said, stay at our house in Jerusalem. And here's what happened. When I woke up, you said, how did you sleep? When I just moved a little, you said, do you need more food? I will get you fresh hot tea if you need something for your voice, which you told me many times. You said, tell me where we should go. I'm a tour guide, you know. And then you said, what else do you need to see? What more would make you happy? You made me happy. I was one of many. It happened again last week. Last week, Naomi was preparing to come here, while Carly, Allison, and I were planning to go toward you. And in the middle of your busy schedule, packed, you said, I will be in Tel Aviv. And all of a sudden, the angst and the anguish and the nerves sort of went away because you'd be there. And you were, on time with Bamba. That helped a lot. A caretaker. And you've been there for years, for so many people in this room. In 2002, in 2002, you began a revolution of sorts. And you were a trailblazer. And you have now been a voice constantly speaking for others and allowing their voices to still be heard. You're a voice as a friend. You're a voice as a partner. Your comfort. And by the way, it's so appropriate that you're seated right where you are, in between the voices of your kids. Alone, I remember when your braces were off. I was there. And your mom said, I need to give him a kiss immediately, and she did. and you were a kid. And when I spoke to you a couple months ago, you were leading a charge in the middle of some of the worst. So proud. And you, Yoav, you're a voice, just like your mom's, on the buses with our own kids from Tamarack, touring with them, training them, teaching them. Voices, Lador Vador. And Naomi's right in the heart of it. I'm gonna take a pause and take an impromptu moment. I feel this. If you have been on a trip with Naomi Miller, I'm curious. I'm gonna do this. Will you just rise for a moment? If you've been on a trip, look at this room, Naomi. Look at this room. Look at this room. Ladies and gentlemen, stay standing, and if you're not standing, join the others. Will everybody please rise? This is Naomi Miller, our distinguished alum for 2024. And this is Naomi Miller on the screen. Enjoy this presentation.
Naomi has the natural ability of bringing people together, and she's beloved.
Naomi Miller is compassionate. Naomi Miller is really smart.
Bubbly, effervescent, calm.
She's warm, she's lovable, she cares deeply. She's my Israeli mom.
Naomi's my mom. When I was set in camp, she was my superhero.
I think Naomi's a legend.
She's just a kind, good-hearted, amazing person.
And she's the glue that holds us all together.
Naomi is a great connector and a great bridge between Israel and Detroit for us.
Naomi serves really kind of a dual role for the community. She serves as the Federation's representative, and she also serves part-time in helping the Michigan Digital Business Accelerator in its representation in Israel, as well as its missions.
Naomi was with us from the very beginning as our guide and our implementer. The role of a guide is to help the newcomer see Israel through their passion and their knowledge of the land, and she was fantastic.
She knows about history. She knows about modern day Israel. She knows about politics. There isn't anything we don't learn about on a bus with Naomi.
And so she became part and parcel of our federation and of our community. And then over the years, she became the IMA of the Israel Camper Program.
If you peel apart the Federation's mission, at the base of it, it's continuity. In the middle of the Second Intifada, these children are going through a trauma, and this brilliant idea hatched here in Detroit to create a safe harbor for these children during that summer. Who do you trust to steward these children to a place they probably had never been before? And the answer was Naomi.
I think it took a risk taker. I think it took a visionary.
First, we took 300 campers, spread them out amongst camp. It was a very exciting, but also very unsure time. But they're kids, and when they get to camp, everybody is just a Tamarack camper. Naomi's input into all of that really is integral into why our program's been a success.
To see Naomi at camp meant family was nearby and that a great leader was present.
I just remember my mom being this parental figure to those Israelis that were coming to camp.
She was my mother back in 02 and 04. I got chosen one out of 300, and it changed my whole life.
When I was in the Army, my commander and a very good friend of mine is Shlomit. He told me that she went on this amazing summer camp called Tamarack. So when I got the assignment that I'm going to Tamarack, I called her and I said, "You have no idea where I'm going." And then 2 years after, I met this guy, and you all know the rest.
I had the huge privilege to come to camp. I was the camper in specialty. After being here in Detroit, I just felt so much closer to my Jewish identity. I remember Naomi was definitely a strong support system.
Once you're at camp, you're going as an Israeli, you're coming back as Jewish, but you're also coming back as a Detroiter.
I've always been fortunate in every village that I've been in or worked in or supervised to have Israelis to be there with me, to have that experience with them as well. And those relationships have continued through to today. I can't imagine not having those relationships in my life.
It's easier to understand why there's so many lifetime connections formed in camp, not just me and Jacob.
Naomi made it more not just a program, she made it like a way of life. We're calling it the Israeli Camper Program, but it's really much more than that.
You can fast forward 20 years and realize the impact that it's made now.
You can't go anywhere in the Central Galilee and find a place where people don't know about the camper program.
It wouldn't have happened without her. She's a major, major part of that program.
The amount of people that are connected between Detroit and Israel within the partnership region is enormous, and that's then to Naomi.
The voice of Jews come together because of the programs that Naomi started over 20 years ago. And now it's one camp, one group of children, one Jewish identity. It's one voice.
Naomi's vision is that the future of the Jewish people depends upon this relationship. That's what's going to keep us together. And that's what Naomi's life work has been about.
My dearest mommy, thank you for, bringing me on this journey in camp and to Michigan. I'm so happy you're getting this recognition that you so much deserve.
To my Israeli mom, Naomi, Mazel Tov, well deserved.
Mazel tov on this amazing and excitement achievement.
Mazel tov, Naomi.
Mazal Tov, Naomi, so happy for you. I'm excited that you were there when I first came to camp. I'm excited that you're still here when I'm working as a shlicha.
This is my opportunity to wish a heartfelt Mazel Tov.
We are blessed to have had you on this journey, and we wish you all the best in the future.
Naomi, you deserve it, and I'm proud of you, and Mazel Tov.
Thank you for everything you have done for our Israeli Camper Program.
Mazel tov, Naomi, so well deserved.
You have had a major impact in our community, and we really appreciate your connections and your support.
Mazel tov, Naomi. On behalf of all of us at Tamarack Camps, we're indebted to your leadership, your vision, and your voice.
Ladies and gentlemen, a paper plate award to our distinguished alumna.
But it's porcelain. Well, that was something, and a lot of people here, more than a bus, that's for sure. Shalom, and thank you so much for really this incredible honor that I'm sharing with two remarkable and committed community leaders, Elaine and Michael Serling. It really is humbling. Leading the Israeli Camper Program has, as you can see, been a highlight in my professional life and the start of my career with the Jewish Federation of Detroit. Over the past 22 years, Detroit has become a second home to me, and this community is like family. In the months leading up to the summer of 2002, I had no idea how my life was about to change. It was an incredibly difficult time in Israel, when the violence of the Intifada rippled through our daily lives. Many of the summer activities were canceled, yet it was a time when the kids most needed the distraction. As a tour educator working with missions, I'd had the pleasure to work with the Federation, but now they were coming to me with a very different request. The Federation CEO at the time, Bob Aronson, along with Mark Davidoff and Tova Dorfman in Israel, in partnership with Tamarack Camps, had come up with an audacious plan to create an experience of respite for 300 Israeli teens at Tamarack. And it truly was a bold undertaking. Not only was it the first time such a program of this magnitude was happening, but I was hired and began the process in May, this week, 22 years ago. We had just weeks to recruit, select, train, and bring the kids to camp. For many of those teens, it was the first extended time away from family, let alone traveling to another country. They had no idea what to expect. And I have to tell you, for an Israeli, Tamarack is akin to a national park in Israel. The kids were in absolute awe of its beauty and the abundance of trees and greenery, and a private lake. It was unlike anything
we or they had ever experienced. That summer, I began to understand what makes this Jewish community truly special. I am not sure if any other community in the US could have pulled off such a feat in just a few short weeks of planning. But Detroit's strength has always been in the way its leaders work as one for the betterment of all. This program succeeded that year and every year since because of the way Federation and Tamarack have worked together. Not surprising, as these two organizations have been deeply entwined for over 120 years, since Blanche Hart, a trailblazing woman for her time, founded the Fresh Air Society while also serving as director of the newly created Jewish charities, later to become Federation. It was a labor of love for Blanche, a desire to make life better for those who are suffering. And while much has changed over the years, that principle has not. When Jews are in need, Federation and Tamarack rise to the occasion. It's almost hard to believe that I was originally hired for just 4 months for what was intended to be a one-time summer experiment. And here we are. Over 22 years later, I am so very grateful to be standing here with you, a professional in this community, with the Jewish Federation of Detroit. Since the inaugural year of the Israeli Camper Program, I don't know if any summer has been as important as this one. Israel has been traumatized. Abnormal has become Israel's new normal, each day underlined by tension, the continual anxiety of living during a war, the fate of the hostages, and the recent Iranian attack. Now more than ever, our youth need the safety, security, and the joy that Tamarack brings. To Federation, to Tamarack, to all of you who make this possible, thank you. You are changing the lives of Israeli and Michigan teens. I also want to extend my thanks to many of you here who have been and are continuing to be host families for the Israeli campers. Bringing them into your lives and making them part of your family is so meaningful. They know they have family here. And I want to take this opportunity to thank my host families who have made us feel like part of the community. Randy Levin, Stacy DeWeese, Eileen, Sarah Michael, and now Alyssa Pianon, and Jacob and Laura Gottlieb, and a special mazel tov because they recently became parents to Betty Rose Schiffman, 2031. And maybe that is the tagline Tamarack should be using, creating mishpacha since 1902. I know that I will not do justice now to thank all those who deserve to be thanked for the work they have done to make this evening happen, for their efforts to create scholarships for the Detroit teens, and for over 2 decades of the now Serling Israeli Camper Program. The Tamarack team, headed by Lee, Robin Trepic, Gabe Nystein, and of course Laurie Davidson-Mertz, who put this outstanding event together. And I have never taken for granted that the Israeli Camper Program has thrived for 22 years, much thanks to Federation's leadership. Beginning with Bob Arison, followed by Scott Kaufman, and now Steve Ingber, all strongly committed that both ICP as well as to ICP and to Jewish camping in the community. The Israel and Overseas team at Federation, headed by Jen Levine, and the rest of my impressive colleagues, Donna, Allison, Bracha, Olivia, Leor, Yoav, and Lisa, work 24/7 to enrich and enhance our Detroit-Israel bond. In the first years of the program, Amy Nystein and Karen Kaplan were instrumental in developing the program into what it is today. And my boys, Yoav and Alon Rockowitz, here with me tonight, enabled us as a family, along with their dad Eli, to experience over a dozen summers at Ortonville. Alon and Yoav have continued as staff and supervisors at camp, as well as on Western and Alaska trips, and now with the teens in Israel. Tamarack, along with perhaps some decent parenting, has helped make them into the mentors that make me proud. In the best of times in Israel, we feel the love from Detroit. But during these difficult times like these, the support we get from this community is unmeasurable. I thank you for your support, your generosity, and this wonderful honor. Toda rabah.
Love you very much. The Serlings taught me some new words. I'm like your Hebrew student. Michael said fantasti. In Hebrew, that's fantastic. And you're fantastic. When the Serlings spoke to our board, we learned another word, kesher. I wrote it down. I've memorized it. Connection, kesher. What a word. We're connected. You're connected. Tamarack is connected. Israel is connected. And in 2017, past President Brian Keeps connected our current leadership to Elaine and Michael at camp. You were already camp parents and grandparents. You already understood our campus. Yet, over the years, you made a commitment. You said, we want to learn more. We want to keep better understanding this jewel, you said, in the heart of our community. And so we got to know you too, through phone calls, through conversations, through meetings at camp, in the office. And I remember when my wife, Robin, and I went to visit in Florida. An hour, we said, tops. 3 hours later, I called my parents and said, we're running a little late. We could have talked for days. Connection, kesher. Through these many years since, I have been in awe of your relentless energy, your thirst for more, and your willingness to make this world a better place, Tikkun Olam. We are so honored, lev belev, to be connected to your hearts. And we're thrilled that you have decided that camp and community, those are the places where you'll invest. And that you've chosen to invest in what is now the Elaine and Michael Serling Israeli Camper Program, is working to sustain a program for generations to come. And I want to add this. I saw it live last weekend with Allison and Carly. Just imagine a room filled with more Israeli campers than we brought last year by 2 times the amount. Nearly 150 coming back home. And as we honor the Serlings in a moment to watch their video, here's what they said when they learned more about the program. Mishpacha. They said it, I promise. And I'm gonna ask you to say it too. For the Serlings, Mishpacha. Say it again. Mishpacha. One more time. Mishpacha. This is our family, and you're gonna see why.
I call them the Sterling Serlings. Michael and Elaine get it.
Understated powerhouses. That's who Elaine and Michael are. And when you sit in the room with them, it's easy to feel.
Michael is the Clarence Darrow of the Jewish community. He's a great lawyer. And Elaine is the Barbara Streisand of the Jewish community. She can sing, written books.
Elaine and Michael Serling are this incredible couple that's very much on the same wavelength in terms of Jewish life and commitment.
They believed right from the beginning, developed the capability to support their beliefs, and have the heart.
They speak Hebrew. As young newlyweds, they lived in Israel.
My name means joy, and they named me that because of all the joy they saw in the streets of Israel and what Israel brought to them.
And I think it was from that experience that they really knew that they wanted to make a difference and wanted to make a difference Jewishly.
Education matters, and their investments have been part of the story at Michigan State University.
Michael Serling has always loved MSU, but when he was a student there were no courses on Israel or study abroad programs to Israel. So I think they were very passionate about having the opportunities for students to learn more about Israeli society, cultures, foreign policy, and all aspects. In 2018, we became the Michael and Elaine Serling Institute for Jewish Studies and Modern Israel. We're really proud to carry their names. They're a real inspiration.
Today, I happen to feel it's one of the most successful Judaic Studies departments in the country.
Especially at this time, it's ever more important that we impact more and more students.
Tamarack Camps is a part of education. It's an informal playground to educate Jewishly.
Me and my sister would always go to Bubby and Zadie camp with my grandparents, and it was just super fun. It was a time to just be with them. I would get so into it, and I just had so much joy at camp. It's just so cool that you get to meet people from a different country, and being able to host them was a super amazing experience for me. One of them actually is a Shinshinim now, so I've gotten to reconnect with her.
Having seen what we do at Tamarack, I think something resonated. Michael and Elaine, they're just such mindful philanthropists, and I think they wanted to learn and understand and make sure they had the right fit. And then it was really that evening with the Israeli campers where it really clicked and came together for them.
I remember sitting around a campfire with them, talking with the kids, and the impact that Tamarack had on not only their own Yiddishkeit, their own Jewishness, but also on their self-esteem, on their future life path, on their careers.
In the same beautiful narrative, Elaine and Michael shared a connection of their own passion to what the Israeli campers must have been feeling.
We were just laughing with them and talking in Hebrew a little bit, and it was just so warm and loving. And we just knew, right when they sat down, that this connection is for a long, long, long time.
I think that Michael and Elaine came away from that just really committed to the idea that this is where they would like to invest.
One day they called and said, what would it take to name the Israeli Camper Program?
And ultimately, those conversations landed in their willingness to endow this program.
The Serlings also really got to know and became grandparent figures to our Shinshinim.
The very first call that I got on October 7th from Michigan was from the Serlings, and I was so grateful to know that I have people thinking about me. They're so far, but it feels so close. We always talk about how grateful we are for having this connection with these amazing, amazing people.
They're great role models. They just lead by example.
They've instilled a lot in me, all of their hard work and their passions and their above and beyond energy.
I've learned a lot about the importance of helping your community and always trying to find ways to be involved in other people's lives and make it better.
Why are we here? Why are we on this earth? What can we do to make the world a better place? Those are the questions that they have answered.
I think our program would be unrecognizable without their impact and support.
We want our campers to want to go to Israel. We want them to have connections there. And now with the Serling gift, we're going to be able to do that for many, many, many years to come.
They've just cemented it a whole lot deeper for the next generation to see.
These are the next generation of our Shinshinim, our staff at camp, our shlichim. When I go back to Israel, and I will live in the region so that my kids can be a part of the Serling Israel Camper Program in the future.
This is the way Judaism can look. In peace, connected, together, one voice.
Mazel tov, Mom and Dad. I love you very much.
Mazel tov, Bubby and Saba. I'm so proud of you.
Mazel tov, Bubby and Saba. I love you guys so much, and I'm so proud of you.
I wish you a very, very successful evening and just a big mazel tov.
Elaine and Michael, congratulations on this well-deserved honor, and what foresight you've had to make a major impact in our community.
So Elaine and Michael, we want to wish you a mazel tov on this honor. We love you. We cherish our friendship with you.
Mazel tov, Elaine and Michael. Thank you so much for impacting camp for many, many years to come.
Mazal tov, Elaine and Michael. Toda rabba for everything you're doing.
Kol hakavod lachem. We love you and thank you. You inspire us all.
We are just so lucky to have you in our community and as part of our Tamarack family.
Mazel tov, Elaine and Michael, for sustaining us generation after generation. Ladies and gentlemen, community leaders are Elaine and Michael Serling.
The best is yet to come. This fell off. Okay. Hello, Tamarack. Hello, family, friends, sponsors, and there were so many, hosts, our Serling and Abramson law firm, the MSU Serling Institute, fellow donors, and to our 5 19-year-old Israeli Shinshanim, our friends. Thank you all for being here and for your incredible gifts and support. Let's start from the beginning. My parents were proud Zionists. Just before I met Elaine, I went to Israel for the first time as a 22-year-old in 1967. I think you saw my picture wearing an MSU t-shirt. It was just 3 weeks after the Six-Day War. It was only 22 years after the Holocaust. I marched with thousands of Jews from all over the world, coming to celebrate the victory, what had seemed to be certain annihilation just before the war. And then to witness a reunited Jerusalem. I stayed with my Israeli family that I had never met and who had barely survived the Holocaust, arriving in Israel in 1939. But what my grandmother did for me then has stayed with me and has great meaning to me. You see, before I left Detroit for this incredible journey, I was intending to spend the entire summer in Europe after the first year of law school and teaching. But my grandma Minnie came to my rescue. She was from Lithuania and had always told me stories about being hungry and poor before she eventually made it to America and Detroit in the early 1900s. It was my mother's mother. She asked me while I was planning my trip where I would be traveling. When I told her that it was just to Europe, she said like this, "Tatala, here is a $100 bill." That was a lot back then. "Please go visit Israel also. We have our own country now." I put that $100 bill deep into my wallet, and when I got to Athens, I saw an advertisement at the American Express office, $35 round trip to Tel Aviv. I hopped on a prop plane, and my life was changed forever. Thank you, Grandma Minnie. I took Elaine back with me shortly after we were married, and together we both found Kesher and Mishpacha, connection and family, and we now want to pay it forward with one voice, Am Yisrael Chai. We are humbled by the honor Tamarack has bestowed upon us this evening. Truth be told, because of the passion and love Elaine and I feel for Israel and for the work and essence that Tamarack brings to our Jewish community, no fanfare and no PR was required to motivate our gift. Some leaders in our community, and there are many here, have often said, it's not that you should give until it hurts. Rather, you should give until it feels good. Our gift feels good. Tamarack has been in our lives for a long time. Our children went there, our grandchildren, and we went to Bubby Zadie camp with our grandchildren 3 times with Alexis and Danielle. Our nephews went, and so did many cousins, and we have lots. Some are here tonight. Tamarack is a jewel in our community, connecting the generations, Lador Vador. Thanks are in order to CEO Lee, to Robin, to current and past presidents Michael Cooper, and our friend Brian Keeps. We got acquainted sitting next to each other for Spartan Stadium when he was president of Tamarack. And to Director Steve Ingber, and attorneys Jonathan Lowe of Federation and Howard Young, our attorney, and to a sage advisor, former head of the Federation's financial arm, Norman Pappas. And thanks for your hard work, Carly, Gabe, Lori, Allison, and dinner chairs, Jeffrey and Lisa, and to all the people that work so hard to make this event possible. And Naomi, mazel tov to you for your well-earned award, and it is fitting that the 3 of us are honored this evening together and on the bima. This is not our first meeting. The 3 of us were indeed together for a memorable day in 2006, which would have been your 4th year in your role, and now you're in your 22nd year. You picked us up in Tel Aviv and spent the entire day with us in Detroit's partnership region, the first time we were ever there, and the beginning of the motivation for what we're doing tonight. Life has shown me that the days may go slow, but the years surely fly. I know this because I was once a young camper at age 8, and soon I will be 80 years old. Elaine and I lived in Israel 1971-72, been back many times. At that time, we were married just 2 years, and soon we will celebrate our 55th wedding anniversary. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. More than a generation ago, Bob Aronson, former CEO of Detroit Federation, and a man of leadership, innovation, and synergy, worked to create a partnership region to the Detroit Jewish community. The region in Emek Israel is a place where Aronson's grandparents lived and were buried on a kibbutz called Yifat. The video beautifully demonstrated Bob's leadership in creating the Israeli camper program, continued by Federation leaders Scott Kaufman and now Steve Ingber. Thousands of Israeli campers from the partnership region have come to Tamarack over the years and since its creation. They have integrated with thousands of Detroit Jewish youth their age. They each learned about one another, understood the connections, the shared religion, culture, and history. They made lifelong friends, connected and became like family. Kesher and mishpacha, Kesher and mishpacha. What vision, what meaning. We stand on the shoulders of Bob Aronson, of our rabbis, Aaron Bergman and Harold Loss, on the shoulders of Max and Marjorie Fisher, of the Hermelins, Davidsons, Frankels, Ed Levy, Steve Victor, Florine Mark, and so many others. These are and have been mentors to both Elaine and to me. Events after October 7th demonstrate how important this program is in good times and in hard times. There is nothing quite like it in terms of the numbers anywhere in the United States, and the program has lasted for a generation. Elaine and I are determined to see that it continues for generations to come, and become a model for the rest of the country. And I say with one voice, with our voices, Am Yisrael Chai. Together, Am Yisrael Chai. And now the better part.
Did he say 55 years? Thank you so much for putting this together tonight. This was wonderful. I want to thank everybody who's here, because I haven't been in this large a space where people were like-minded as I am now. It sort of feels safe. We have similar visions, wishes, and desires, and I just feel like we're partners. And I thank you for partnering with Michael and I for the Israeli Camper program. Thank you. I'm going to go back a little bit in time also, a very pivotal time in my life when I went to Israel. I was a newly registered nurse. I had no children. It was early in my marriage. I spoke 1.2 languages, basically English and a little, I said glida maybe in Hebrew. And I got a job at the original Shared Tzedek Hospital, which was built in 1902 on Yaffa Street in Herzl, if you know where it is, and you go on Kav Sheish, which is bus 6. And that's what I rode to work. And I adored this hospital. I mean, it was so old. I just loved it. I didn't tell them I loved it because it was old, but the windows were from the ceiling to the floor. They were always open for the fresh air. There were wards of 12 people. I had never seen a ward of 12 people, and I worked in a lot of hospitals in Detroit. I didn't think it was a very good idea, but I loved looking at it. It reminded me of the Civil War, I think. But it was the best education, actually, that I had in Israel. And it wasn't the medical part, and it wasn't the science, and it wasn't the nursing practice. That was always there. That was there. It was the fact that I came upon the population of Israel then. And the population was from South America, from South Africa, from Europe, from Russia, from the United States, Canada, and I can go on and on. And not everybody spoke the language, but they had to live there and they had to get by. I was in the clinics. Every 2 hours, a new doctor came in and a new population of people came in. My Hebrew was getting better. It was second grade. And my French was getting worse. and I didn't know any Russian. It wasn't easy because the doctors wanted you to go, 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 and I just took my time, and I could hear my professors at home at Wayne State University. Think before you do, and I did. But what does this have to do with Israeli camper program, you ask? The passionate connection that I had to Israel, and as much as I learned, I've taken with me since. And you can do the math. That's 1972 and it's 2024. That's about 50 years, is it? I've taken it with me to any kind of job that I've had, any kind of nursing job, because I knew I had to relate to that patient how they see the world, not how I see the world. And in my music career, I had so many times I came through all different kinds of genres of music. So that's how me living in Israel took me through life. So when Michael and I started to talk about how can we have a connection with Israel that's going to last, and this came about because our kids went, and I learned through them how they were involved. We both said, you know what? For a young 13, 14-year-old, or the older teens to come to Israel, to come from Israel to meet American kids, how they can trade, how they live their life, and yet they're still Jewish. They just live on different real estate. That's sort of how it got us to this, that we knew that this would last, and each of the people, each of the kids would be able to tell another kid, another friend, another relative, and that's how it would spread, by them, not having to advertise it as such, but that's how it would spread, through our children. The day that my granddaughter Danielle left for Israel, we happened to be at a meeting at the Federation building, and it ended. And someone said, oh boy, there's the bus. And we said, what bus? And the bus of the kids coming to the States, to Detroit, had just left Metro and landed at the Federation building, and Afsalachis, we were there. It was like amazing. It was beshert. It was really beshert. So we got to stay. They said, please stay, say hello. Michael says, can I say it in Hebrew? Say it in Hebrew, go right ahead. And the look on the faces were, we're here in the United States and we're hearing someone talk to us in Hebrew. It was wonderful. They were young. These were the 13, 14-year-olds, 12, 13, 14, 15. Some of them had never been on a plane. Most of them had not been overseas. So this was the first of every first that they had, and we were there to see it. Well, the other great thing I think that happened is we also met the Shanim. And I saw Lehi on there. What's so interesting to me is I don't know all the new names in Israel. I know Moshe, I know Sarah, I know Daniel, I know David. There's a lot of wonderful new names. Anyway, Lehi was one of them, and she was on the video. That's fabulous. But we sat with, the last thing I want to share with you is we sat with the group, and actually you saw it in the video, the group of the campers that were going back to Israel. And it was a very quiet time. And one of the counselors said, what are you going to say? How are you going to explain your experience here when you get back? And they were only hours from leaving. Silence. And these kids were wild. They were Wildachayers. They were, I don't want to leave, I do want to leave. I can't wait to get home, I don't want to go home. And all of a sudden there was silence. And they just couldn't answer it. So I took it upon my chutzpah self, and I said, wait a minute, you can answer this. What have you learned here? What have you taught here? Where do you want to go from here? And they stopped for a minute, and you could see in their eyes that somewhere inside, in that Yiddish neshama, was something about, I can take this on. I will be able to tell them when I get home. Maybe I can't do it right now, I'm with too many people, but I know I'll be able to share what I learned and what I taught them. So, what's so interesting to me, Michael and I were on a vacation, and we're sitting in a park. It was in Charleston, actually, and my phone rings, and it's FaceTime. I said, oh, one of my kids, my grandkids. That's really cool. They usually don't call when I'm on vacation. And I looked, and it was Aya. she was the Shinshanim from the week before. The time before. And I said, Aya, where are you? Are you in Michigan again? She says, no, I'm in my bedroom. I said, you're in your bedroom and you're FaceTiming me? And I'm a dinosaur with technology. And all I can remember is my mother saying, they're calling from New York. It's only 5 more minutes and then it's going up $10 a minute. And that's all I can think of. But I'm always told by my son-in-law that it's not really a telephone. So now, how close are we? We're around the block. And I know the kids FaceTime each other all the time. So how did the campers, how can they take home their love? How did I see it when I was in Israel, when I was young? I was 24, Israel was 24. That's how. Art Buchwald, a Washington Post humorist, he has passed away. He wrote this, and he said, whether it's the best of times, whether it's the worst of times, it's the only times we've got. It's the only times we've got. And like the teacher and the prophet Hillel, Im lo achshav matai, if not now, when? So I want to thank you for partnering with us. That's how I feel. That this room, I can feel safe, and I can say, we agree, and we go forward. It's sort of like it takes a village, but in this case, it takes specialty and ruach and avodah and wolf and atad and Berman and freshman and Hermelin. That's the only, I don't know anymore. But let me see if this is working right now. Testing? No? I have to turn it on? Yes? Because I'm a songwriter, I always look at the words and the melodies of songs. And some of them just fit so well. And that's what this one does. Linda Creed, her name is, and Michael Masser wrote this song in 1975. It is 49 years old. And I think it sort of says what I'm feeling. I'm just going to share a few phrases with you. It's called The Greatest Love of All. Handy gadget here. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter, let the children's laughter remind us how it used to be. Thank you.
These are our community leaders, Elaine and Michael Serling.
Thank you, sir.
It's beautiful. Thank you. Two beautiful voices, one beautiful message. Lev belev, heart to heart. And we're so lucky that we work with some of the best hearts in this community. Our lay leadership, years after years, continues to grow from strength to strength. We're built on the shoulders of our past presidents, which represents the best lay leadership in the world. May I pause for a moment and ask, please, for the past presidents in this room who we had the honor of connecting with earlier, to please rise and be recognized. We continue to respect and appreciate your leadership and your continued involvement. And Michael Cooper has taken the baton. Thank you, Michael. Our current president in his second term, which is going too quickly, has been a source of inspiration in my role, and that is by way of your professionalism, your insight, your guidance, and your friendship. Thank you for serving so well, compassionately and intelligently. This is our president, Michael Cooper.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for being here this evening. I can't express the pride I feel being here with you and the motivation. You know, it's impossible for me to think I've done nearly enough when I listen to Cooper come up and talk about what he's doing. And so it pushes me to do more. I hope you feel the same way. A special thank you to Elaine, to Michael, to Naomi for sharing your inspirational stories. It's these kinds of stories that remind us that Tamarack is much more than a summer camp. We are changing lives. Tamarack is a place where we can come together and celebrate Judaism. A stable force we can count on when times are tough. This summer, and you've heard this before, we will have more Israeli campers and staff than ever before, because that's what we can do, because that's what we should do. This year, Send a Kid to Tamarack is as important as it's ever been. And so thank you to Jeff Kirshner, Lisa Karatkin-Rothberger, and our amazing Send a Kid to Tamarack committee for the incredible effort. Yeah. To make all this possible. I want to thank our board of directors and our executive committee who give their time and energy to support camp and our mission every day. I am proud to be part of that group and proud to say that 100% of our board has contributed to our campaign. Yeah. During my term, I've had the opportunity to get to know the Tamarack professional staff. They are a uniquely talented, dedicated, and passionate group, and for that I am grateful. Tonight I want to give a special thanks to our advancement team. Gabe Nystein, Lori Davidson-Mertz. Yeah. And, Lori Semmel, Elaine Shaw, Amy Skimmon. Please, they deserve it, they do. Stefan Teodosic, Robin Trepek, and Elizabeth Solish, our Vice President of Advancement, and an incredibly effective lay leader. Please, for them. You work hard all year to make sure that camp is everything it can be, and that as many kids as possible have a chance to enjoy it. And this year and this event, you've succeeded. You've done it. Tonight's honorees and each of you play in a really important role in our advancing our mission. So we invite you to partner with us this coming year. Lend your voice and talents to one of our committees. Join us for our Alumni Family Camp in August, or participate in our campaign for change to emphasize the importance of tzedakah. Together, we can continue to make a difference in the lives of our children, and through that, truly make the world a better place. Margaret Mead famously said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed individuals can change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has." Tonight is a shining example of how true that is. My 3 sons were Tamarack campers, and so I understand the impact that we have and the effort required. I want to thank my wife, Beth, for supporting me during my time as a board member and now in my term as president. These 9 years have gone by really fast, and like most of the important things in my life, none of them happen without her. Yeah. Thank you all again for a truly special evening. Thank you to our corporate and foundation partners and our legacy and our endowment donors who support us continuously. Please check them out in our ad journal, which you can see online. As we conclude our program, please join us in the atrium for dessert. We are ready for another great summer, and please walk away knowing that we could not do what we do without all of you. Thank you again. Have a wonderful evening.